You've been praying for a financial breakthrough. You've fasted. You've rebuked devourers. You've anointed your wallet, your doorposts, your future, and still nothing changed. Meanwhile, the guy at your office who never opens a Bible just bought his second property. And if you're honest, there's a question forming in the quiet places of your mind, one you almost feel guilty for thinking, God, did you skip me? But here is the truth most people were never taught. Not clearly, not directly. God did not ignore your prayer. He answered it. He just didn't answer it the way you expected. He answered it through principles, through patterns, through instructions written in plain sight, waiting not to be admired but to be applied. The blueprint you are asking heaven for has been sitting on your nightstand the entire time, but you have been reading it devotionally when it was meant to be executed practically. And until that shift happens, your life will not change, no matter how sincere your prayers are. Because sincerity without structure produces cycles, not progress. Before we begin, help this message reach others. Subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me where you're listening from. There's still time for the right people to hear this. The Bible speaks about money over and over again. Not accidentally, not subtly, but intentionally. This is not a hidden topic. This is not secondary. Scripture treats stewardship, discipline, and wealth building as matters of obedience, not luck. And yet many believers reduce it to a single idea: give and God will bless. That is true, but it is not complete. That is the beginning, not the system. There are pages you have not turned, instructions you have not followed, disciplines you have not applied. So, if you are tired of being the most prayerful person in the room and still the most financially stuck, then listen carefully, because what you are waiting for has already been given, and what you lack is not access, but execution. The first shift you must make is this: stop asking for doors you are not prepared to walk through. Proverbs says, "Do you see a man skilled in his work? He will stand before kings, he will not stand before obscure men." That is not poetry, that is a mechanism. Skill creates access, competence creates elevation. Before God increased people, He equipped them. In Exodus, the first man filled with the Spirit was not a prophet, not a preacher, but a craftsman, given skill, intelligence, and ability to work with his hands. That should tell you something. You do not need capital to begin, you need capability. And capability is built, not begged for. Ecclesiastes says if the iron is blunt and you do not sharpen it, more strength is required. That might be your life right now. You are working hard, but you are not moving forward because your tool is dull. You have been swinging harder instead of sharpening smarter. So ask yourself honestly, what is the skill you have committed to mastering to the point that people will pay for it? Not admire it, not compliment it, but exchange money for it. If you do not have a clear answer, your situation is not mysterious. It is predictable. The second shift is even more uncomfortable. Faith is not waiting. Faith is movement. James says it directly. Faith without works is dead. Not weak, not struggling. Dead. And a dead faith cannot produce a living result. Many people have redefined faith as patience, as endurance, as surviving delay. But biblical faith moves, it builds, it acts. When the widow cried out in desperation in the 2 Kings, God did not drop money from the sky. He gave her an instruction. Borrow jars, pour what you have, sell the oil. The miracle required participation. And here is the part that most people miss. The oil stopped flowing when she ran out of jars. The limitation was not in heaven, it was in her preparation. That means your effort is not separate from your miracle, it determines its capacity. Now consider this. How you manage what you already have reveals whether you are ready for more. Jesus said, "Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Will you not first sit down and count the cost?" That is budgeting. That is planning. That is financial awareness. Not optional, not advanced, basic obedience. You cannot ask for increase while ignoring management. If money comes into your hands and disappears without explanation, you do not have an income problem. You have an attention problem. And attention can be trained, but only if you are willing to face numbers without emotion. Proverbs says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance." Not the hopes, not the intentions, the plans. Written, measured, tracked. You cannot build anything stable on vagueness. Then there is debt, which many have accepted as normal, but Scripture describes it with precision. The borrower is slave to the lender. Not slightly limited, not mildly inconvenienced, a servant. Every payment you owe is a claim on your future. Every obligation is a chain that restricts your movement. And you cannot build something lasting while constantly pulling from it to satisfy the past. Freedom requires confrontation. You must look at every debt, list it, attack it, remove it intentionally. This is not about shame. It is about alignment, because a divided foundation cannot sustain expansion. And once you begin to rebuild, understand this clearly. Wealth is not built in moments, it is built in patterns. Proverbs says, "Whoever gathers little by little makes it grow." That destroys the fantasy of sudden transformation. There is no shortcut around consistency. There is no bypass around discipline. Growth is quiet, repeated, controlled, and often invisible at the beginning. But patterns compound. What you repeat, you become. What you track, you improve. What you ignore, you lose. And as you grow, do not depend on one source. Ecclesiastes instructs, "Invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8, because you do not know what disaster may come." That is diversification. That is wisdom anticipating uncertainty. Security is not found in one strong pillar, but in multiple stable ones. You may start small, but you must start intentionally. There is something in your hands right now that can be developed, offered, exchanged. It may not look impressive yet. It may not feel significant yet, but most valuable things do not begin dramatically. They begin quietly, and they grow until they can no longer be ignored. But there is one final principle that determines whether what you build will last or collapse, and that is integrity. The Lord detests dishonest scales, Proverbs says, not dislikes, detests. That means how you build matters as much as what you build. Shortcuts create speed, but they destroy stability. And anything built on compromised foundations will eventually expose its weakness under pressure. A good name is more valuable than great riches, not as a moral statement, but as a strategic one. Trust multiplies opportunities. Integrity protects what effort produces. So now everything comes back to you, not to accuse you, but to empower you. Because if the responsibility is yours, then so is the ability to change. You are not forgotten. You are not skipped. You are not waiting for something that has not been given. Deuteronomy says it clearly. It is God who gives you the power to produce wealth. Not just wealth. Power, ability, capacity. But capacity unused produces nothing. The seed in your hand will not grow until it enters the ground. And no one can plant it for you. So begin. Not when you feel ready, not when conditions are perfect, not when fear disappears. Begin now. Sharpen your skill. Move with discipline. Track your money. Kill your debt. Build your patterns. Expand your sources. Guard your integrity. Seek wisdom. Apply what you already know. Because at some point, continuing to wait is no longer faith. It is avoidance, and deep down, you already know the difference. As this message comes to a close, don't rush away. Pause and pay attention to what it awakened in you. If something in your spirit shifted, then don't ignore it. Subscribe, leave a comment telling me where you're listening from, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because some messages don't arrive by accident. They find you at the exact moment you're ready to receive them, and this may be one of them.